Today we're going to be covering section 3.4, exponential and logarithmic equations and how to solve them. You use your textbook. The examples that we're using today are off of page 235. This is number 8, and it's 1/2 to the x power equals 32. So to solve this equation for x, the first thing that we need to do is get our bases the same. So we can make 2 to the -1 power equals 2 to the 5th power. Because 2 to the 5th power equals 32. Okay, and that -1 times x is -x equal to 5. So x equals -5. If you want to check your work, you can put 1/2 to the -5 power in your calculator, and it should give you 32. Number 10 is e to the x equals 2. And we want to solve this for x. Anytime you have an e involved, that is your natural exponential function. So you want to take the log of both sides. So the ln of e, of course, equals 1. So x equals the ln of 2. Number 12. Log of x equals -2. We want to solve for x here. Remember, when you have a log and you do not have a base, it is not written there, but it is understood to be 10. So if you were to solve this, remember to change from a log to an exponential. You draw your squiggly e. So 10 to the -2 power equals x. And 10 to the -2 is the same as 1 over 100. Number 14. Log base 5. I'm sorry. Log base 5 of x equals 1/2. Remember, here's a log. We're trying to solve for x. So we're going to draw our squiggly e. 5 to the 1/2 power equals x. Number 18. E to the x squared minus 3 equals e to the x minus 2. Again, here our bases are the same, so we want to set our exponents equal to each other. This is a quadratic function, so whenever you have a quadratic function, you know that you want to get everything to one side. And -3 plus 2 is going to be -1. And I want to solve this for x. Now, the problem here is that there aren't any factors of -1 that you can multiply together that will add up to -1. So we're going to have to use the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So that is going to be 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 4 is 5 divided by 2. And I would leave that like that. Number 20. 4 e to the x equals 91. We're trying to solve for x here. So divide both sides by 4. E to the x equals 91 over 4. Remember, anytime you have an e, do the natural log of both sides. So the ln of e, of course, is 1, and so x equals the ln of 91 over 4. Number 22. 6 to the x plus 10 equals 47. I am trying to get x by itself. So 6 to the x equals 37. And now I need to solve for x. So I have an exponential. I'm going to need to change this into a logarithmic function to solve. So draw your L, and that's going to give you log base 6 of 37 equals x. Log base 6 of 37, you can put it in your calculator, or you can leave it like this. We're going to skip to number 26. This problem is 8 to the negative 2 minus x equals 431. Again, I have an exponential function. I'm going to need to change this to a logarithmic function. So draw your L, and you have log base 8 of 431 equals negative 2 minus x. Okay, you can use your calculator and do math alpha A. Log base 8 of 431 gives you 2.92 equals negative 2 minus x. Add 2 to both sides. So 4.92 equals negative x. So x equals negative 4.92. Number 28. 8 times 3 to the 6 minus x power equals 40. We're solving for x. Divide both sides by 8. 3 to the 6 minus x power equals 5. And here you have an exponential function, so change it to a logarithmic to solve. So you have log base 3 of 5 equals 6 minus x. I would go ahead and put in log, math alpha A, log base 3 of 5. That equals 1.4, let's just go 1.46 equals 6 minus x. So 1.46 minus 6 equals negative x. Negative 4.54. So x equals positive 4.54. Number 30, 1,000 e to the negative 4x equals 75. I would go ahead and divide both sides by 1,000. So you're going to have, go ahead and write your logarithmic function. It's going to be the log of base e, which is ln of e, 75 over 100, or 1,000, excuse me, equals negative 4x. Well, you all know that ln of e is 1, so that's going to be 75 over 1,000, which equals negative 4x, and so x equals 75 over 1,000 divided by negative 4. So I would put that in my calculator. ln 3 divided by 40 divided by negative 4.64. All right, I'm going to skip to number 48. This is log I can't read my own writing. Well, let's scratch that one. Let's do, for number 50, well, ln of the square root of x minus 8 equals 5. Well, we know that ln is log base e. So you usually don't write it like this, but it might help you to see it like this. So if we're going to an exponential function, you will see that it's e to the 5th power equals x minus 8 to the 1/2. Okay, and then square root of both sides. Or no, not square root both sides. I'm sorry, square both sides. So 5 times 2 is 10. And then x minus 8. So e to the 10th plus 8 equals x. Right. Now, some of your problems may ask you to condense the problem before you solve it. Let's look at number 58. See, the ln of x plus 1 minus the ln of x minus 2 equals the ln of x. So first of all, remember that when we subtract, that is the same as division. So it's x plus 1 divided by x minus 2. And then over here we have the ln of x. Well, now you see that the bases are the same. So we're going to do x plus 1 divided by x minus 2 equals x. And we're going to solve for x. So we're going to multiply both sides by x minus 2. So we have x plus 1 equals x squared minus 2x. So 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus x minus 1. So 0 equals x squared minus 3x minus 1. And then you look to see if you could factor -1. And there are no factors of -1 that would add up to -3. So we're going to do the quadratic function, or the quadratic formula. So the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So that's going to give me 3 plus or minus the square root of 13 over 2. Number 60. Log base 2 of x plus log base 2 of x plus 2 equals log base 2 of x plus 6. When we're multiplying, when we're adding, you know that that means that we are actually multiplying. And you see here that your log bases are the same on both sides. So you're going to have x squared plus 2x equals x plus 6. So x squared plus 2x minus x plus, minus 6 equals 0. So x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. So x plus 3, actually made a goofy mistake. It needs to be x plus 6. I don't think that's going to work. No, I had it right the first time. Sorry, guys. All right, so we have x plus 3 and x minus 2 for our factors. So your x is going to equal -3 and +2. Now, remember what we talked about when we looked at the graphs of logarithmic functions. The domain of a logarithmic function has to be all real numbers greater than 0. So -3 is out, and the only possible answer is x equals 2. Okay, that's it for now. I would log onto your Canvas and do your quiz. Email me if you have any questions.